Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my deep, intense shadow work series called Real Monsters. Okay, you guys, now this video I'm kind of like iffy about because I really don't even want to do this video. Not that I really wanted to do the other harder videos, but this video I just really don't care to do. And the reason being is because I don't care to give these people any type of energy for real. So this video probably will not be long because again, I am not looking to give these people any type of energy, any clout, anything. Okay. So in this episode, I'm just briefly going to talk about my in-laws, ex-in-laws from hell, y'all. Okay. Again, I don't want to give these people too much energy, so I'm not really going to make this video long. I'm not going to give y'all a whole lot of examples or situations that happen. It's just, like I said, it's really not worth my energy. But because this is my shadow work series, and we're going through childhood up until current day, I would be doing myself a disservice if I did not include them in this video. So that is why we are doing this video. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I met my ex in the 9th grade and we got together, and things moved pretty quickly between the two of us. I honestly should have taken note of a few red flags that I noticed when we first got together. A couple of them being how much he could not stand his mother or his stepfather. He really did not have great relationships with them at that time. His mom was very so much into herself. She was very self-absorbed. She still is a bit, but she's gotten a little better, I guess. But she was very self-absorbed. She was all about herself. She really didn't care too much to be really a parent for real. And then his stepfather was very narcissistic. He was very self-absorbed himself. He was very selfish. He was abrasive and he was very hard to stomach at times. He was very self-absorbed. He was all about himself, and he liked to talk about himself a lot, right? As well as I used to call him Cinderfella because he would have to do literally everything and anything around the house. They had dogs and she would keep them in a room. She wouldn't let them go outside sometimes. She, as in his mom, wouldn't take him outside sometimes, and he would be left to clean up the mess from the dogs. Whatever waste or whatever mess that they made, he was supposed to clean that up. He was also basically like the parent to his little brother. He helped raise his little brother, honestly. He was there for his little brother as a father figure, because both of their parents were, again, self-absorbed. They really didn't think too much about their children. They were really all about themselves and trying to figure themselves out. I'll give them grace now. At the time, it was just like, yo, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you know what I mean? So he had a very hard and harsh home life. I remember him needing clothes and things, and he would never get new items. He would always get hand-me-downs, and it was crazy because his little brother would kind of wear the same size as him, especially shoes and things. And so he would get his little brother's hand-me-downs. Little brother's hand-me-downs now, okay? And sometimes he would get his stepfather's hand-me-downs. His biological father and family, all the rest of their family were in Indianapolis, Indiana. So he didn't go home much. Indiana is his home. He didn't go home much to see his family. He was raised by his grandparents essentially until about the 7th grade, when his mother up and got him and said, hey, he's going to Florida with us. They were a military family. So he bounced around up until, you know, they came here, honestly, to Maryland and really settled down. They were supposed to go to Spain, but the stepfather got into an accident, motorcycle accident, and they could not go to Spain. He was supposed to be deployed. They couldn't go because of the accident, so they had to stay here. And I always felt like with his mom, like it was one of those things where you kind of like feel like you're battling up against somebody for some reason, and you really can't put your finger on it as to like why it's such a combative energy between the two of you. Her and I, we had ebbs and flows of when we'd get along and things. We were Eastern Stars together, so there were moments where, you know, we did actually get along. There were times where I damn near lived with her. She lived in a townhome, and I was there almost every day. If I wasn't there, he was at my house and things. There would be times where they would put him out and he would have nowhere to go. And so I would sneak him into my parents' house and have him stay the night with me. He stayed with us. My parents, I don't even think my parents know this yet, but there was a moment in time where they kicked him out for a while, and for about, I want to say, a good month, I had him parking down the hill, like where my parents lived. They lived on this hill, and then there was a hill, like a decline going further past their home. And so I would have him park down further past their house at the bottom of the hill, and he would walk up, and I would bring him into the house, and he would have somewhere to stay. So, you know, they went through so much. I mean, there were moments where there was like physical altercations. I remember a time where he had marks around his neck from when his stepfather choked him. It was some times where things had really gotten bad, and it was so bad that my mom really took to him because of the home life that he had. And she was like, you know, no child should have to endure the things that, you know, he endured. His mother was crazy, for real. She was just, you know, doing some off the wall outlandish stuff that, you know, you see in the hood. You see, you know, hood mothers and stuff do it, ghetto moms and things like that. But I wasn't accustomed to that. We grew up so totally different. So what I was used to, I'm used to a family unit. I'm used to both parents being in the home. I'm used to my parents putting the children first and really, you know, focusing on us and actually parenting us, and not having, you know, my brother or sister always raising me or always taking care of me and making sure that I'm, you know, straight while they're out doing whatever they want to do. So we had so many, like, we didn't grow up, you know, the same way at all. And he always grew up feeling like nobody wanted him. You know, he felt like he was a mistake. He felt like, you know, he shouldn't be here. And it was because of, you know, the relationship that he had with his family, with his parents and things. And so I went with him in the 10th grade to Indiana. That's when I met his family out there in Indianapolis. And let me say that I absolutely still to this day love and adore his two maternal aunts that we were always kicking it with while we were out in Indiana. So 10th grade, I flew out to Indiana. My parents allowed me to go. They had my sister go with me. And the reason that I flew out there was, number one, not only to meet his family, but number two, because his grandmother had purchased him a car, or his grandparents had bought him a car, and he needed somebody to ride back home to Maryland with him. So my sister and I flew out, and we, had plans, and we rode back home with him. You know what I mean? So that was the first time that I really met his family and everything. And mind you, I'm about 14, 15 years old at this time. And this is my first time meeting all of his family, meeting his grandfather, his grandmother, maternal and paternal, his Nana, which is his papa's wife, but she is not biologically his mother's mom. Okay. So there were so many people, that I met. Myself and his little sister, we really took, he has two little sisters, but the youngest one, the baby, we really took to one another. She was just like a little sister to me, and she, called me sis, and we had a really, we had a okay relationship. We had a good relationship at that time. His family would send things for our son for his birthday and for Christmas. They would send gifts and things like that, but they weren't present. They would come here for his football games. They came here 3 times. First time, I believe it was for like the championship for one of the football little leagues, Pee-wee leagues that he was in. They came for the championship, for one championship game. They did come for another game, or I believe it was another game when he was in his Pee-wee football stage, and then they came again for a high school game. So they were here for about three times. Came to visit and everything. They flew him out for one spring break. But honestly, that's literally the gist of all of that, all that they have done for my son. Now that he's, old enough to communicate for himself, I don't know how often the communication is there, but when the parents had to facilitate things, it would be as often as, when his dad would call, when my son's grandfather would call his father. So, it really wouldn't be often, but it would be often enough to where, they would get updates and things like that. Again, they did not help at all financially. My ex's grandmother did open up a checking account for my son, and she does deposit money for his birthday and Christmas and things like that. And that stays where it's at. So, it has, it's there when he needs it. But they do offer my son the same things that they offered his father, which is a lot of empty promises and things like that. And they don't really come through with some of the things like they told him last spring break that they were, they wanted to fly him out. And then that was all he heard of it. You know what I mean? So they're inconsistent. They were always inconsistent in his father's life. And so they are inconsistent as well in my son's life. And when I really say they, I don't mean my ex's grandmother, because she's great. She's in her 80s now. There's only so much, she's going to do, as far as like communicating and reaching out and things like that. She doesn't have to, you know what I mean? She's at that age where it's like my son should be fostering that relationship as well. So I'm hoping that he's doing that. I always encourage that he knows how I am about family. But yeah, so that's how they were, they really didn't come through for him a lot. My parents helped my ex with literally everything. They paid for his driving school. They paid for his cap and gown. They paid for his senior dues for him to graduate. They paid essentially anything that man needed, they paid for. Now, of course, they didn't pay for like class rings and stuff like that. He didn't get that. But they did pay for things that his parents just dropped the ball on, really, and they felt like no child should be responsible for things that a parent should handle. So they stepped in, and I guess again, that's when my mom, she took a really hold to him, because she realized that his home life was not really not conducive to growing a young man who is viable for society. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go into this, and then I'm gonna end this fucking video, because again, I don't want to give these people too much fucking energy. Where shit went left with my in-laws is, there's always, for me, and I didn't realize it until my ex really started pointing things out, but it just seemed like there was always a sense of bitterness or jealousy or resentment when he would talk about my parents or the things that my parents had done for him, or, you know, how, you know, close-knit of family that my family unit was. And so I remember our wedding planning, and they kept making promises that they were going to help with this, that, and the third. And we kept reaching out and asking, you know, what's what. And they, you know, dropped the ball. They did not help financially at all. They did not put anything forth for the wedding, which, you know, they didn't do for my ex, you know what I'm saying, in life. So I kind of disappointed myself by giving them too much grace and too much, you know what I'm saying, hope, and having too much faith in them that they would do as they stated that they would do, just to help him out. I mean, they've never really done anything, you know, for him during his childhood. You would think that, you know, okay, let's step up and help him out here. No, that wasn't the case. As well as the two sisters were in the wedding. All of the brothers were in the wedding. The two sisters were in the wedding, and they became such a stressor for me in my wedding planning, because they were supposed to go to get measurements and things done for their dresses. They took forever to do that. So they almost didn't meet the deadline for turning in the requirements, their measurements for their dresses. So they almost didn't get dresses. And then one of his brothers, which I felt like he knew the entire time, but he said that he was going to be in the wedding, and then literally like 2 to 3 weeks before the wedding said that he wasn't coming. And so I had to hurry up, and thank God my cousin, I'm so close to my cousin, and he should have been one of the groomsmen anyway. But my cousin stepped in and filled in, and he jumped right to it. He went and got his measurements and fitted for his tux and everything. And so that was crisis averted there. But I also paid for everybody to have their makeup done. And yes, everybody reimbursed me for their makeup. Now, mind you, I had a celebrity makeup artist and everything. And so I told the girls, you know, just make sure that you guys are at the house. We're all getting ready together. Everything's being videoed. You know, I had a videographer and everything. And we were all getting our makeup done together. And we're all, you know, getting dressed or whatever at my parents' house. Let's rewind before we get to the day of the wedding. The day before the wedding, when we had rehearsal, everything was fine. When we went to the venue to do rehearsals, everybody was laughing, kikiing and everything. And then it came time to come down to the rehearsal dinner. So we had rehearsal dinner at my parents' house. And at this time, my parents were living in the biggest home that they had ever built. You know what I mean? The house was huge. It was really, really big. It was 3-car garage. My parents never had anything less than 6 cars in their driveway. So the garages were full of vehicles. There were vehicles outside that were theirs. In that house, it was a 3-story home. My bedroom had its own ensuite. So my bedroom had its own bathroom. And then you had the guest room and my son's room and my parents' room, which was cute. My parents' room was the size of an apartment, like a 1-bedroom apartment itself. Okay. And their bathroom, oh my gosh, bathroom and walk-in closet, huge. There was a bathroom upstairs. So it was 5 bedrooms, because there was a bedroom in the basement, huge storage area, another formal living room in the basement. There were 2 living rooms in the middle level, the main level, huge kitchen, And in the basement, there was also a movie theater. So that was the first time that his family had ever been to my parents' home. And you could tell that there was some type of envious energy there. There was attitudes, and we couldn't figure out why. There was attitudes and things at the rehearsal dinner. And it was like, why are these people acting funny? And so, mind you, in Indianapolis, they don't necessarily live in the best of the neighborhoods. They do live in the hood. And they are what people would describe as hood, a hood family, hood people. They got cracks in their blinds. Their carpet is crazy dirty with spots and stuff. They don't upkeep the house. The house is falling apart and things like that. So you're coming in from that type of environment, and then you're coming into elegance and class and an upper class type of environment. And of course there's going to be some type of envy, because it's just like, okay, well, they got it good. They don't need us, this, that, and the third. And so that's where it's kind of like started there. The energy kind of started. And then we're going to go the day after to the wedding day. Again, I told the girls, hey, be at the house at a certain time, because we're all getting our makeup done. We're all getting dressed here, everything, blouse, skip. And they kept saying, oh, we're on our way, this, that, and the third. And they did not show up to get their makeup done. I was so pissed, because everybody was supposed to be uniform with their makeup, and everybody had on different style dresses, but I wanted their makeup and everything to be uniform. They got their aunt to do their makeup, and you could definitely tell that they were oddballs, and they did not get their makeup done along with everybody else. It was really irritating to me, especially because I had already paid for it. All they had to do was show up. And then there was stank ass attitudes behind that. It was weird. Like, they kept giving off weird ass energy, and I should have taken heed to my ex's warnings. And he really honestly did not want them at the wedding in the first place. The only people that he cared that came to the wedding was his grandmother and his aunt. Those were the only two that he really wanted at the wedding. Everybody else, and when I say aunt, I mean his paternal aunt. Everybody else, he really didn't give a rat's ass. He was telling me, like, just leave them be. Like, don't even worry about them. Like, don't invite them. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, no, because I'm such a family oriented person. I'm like, for me, this is two families coming together, and I know how my family is and how my family operates. We're very, very close. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, two families are becoming one, so I want everybody there. I should have listened to him. Well, something or another happened while we were still at the wedding venue, ceremony venue, taking photos. So everybody else went to the reception hall. Something happened where my mother and his mother were about to fight. His mother had said something smart, and my mom was like, she had it, because she knew everything that I had gone through. She knew that they didn't contribute anything, and for them or her to say something out left field, like, no, just no. You know what I'm saying? So they were about to fight. So I got word of that on the way to my reception venue, and Snapchat was a thing. Snapchat's still a thing, but Snapchat was the thing then. And so I knew that his mother followed me on Snap. And so I put something on Snap. I had like this face, like basically a face like, this ain't what you want. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of put something in the caption reminiscent of, this is not what, like, this ain't what you want. Like, let's not, like, this ain't what you want. Basically saying, if you need that, you can get that. And his sisters saw it, and I guess his sisters thought that I was talking about them. I don't know. At this point, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So they had more of a stank ass energy the entire wedding. So the wedding goes by, all the other guests are, they really don't pick up on too much of the negative vibes that his family is is giving because everybody's having such a good time, and they're just a few too many, right? Everybody's having a good time. Everything's great. They get back home and all fucking hell breaks loose. I don't even remember. I remember his mother, my ex's mother, going on Facebook and saying shit, and I let her fucking have it. I let her ass the fuck have it, like crazy have it, okay? And then his dad's side of the family, there was some shit that happened between us, and again, the sisters lied about something else too. I believe it was a Snapchat that they lied about, but anyway, it was a whole hoopla, and I went off on them as well. I told all of them that they were dead to me, and I meant that. That's why I'm like, I really don't want to give them too much energy. My ex-mother-in-law, she was so like, she had such an unhealthy attachment to my ex. It was like she romanticized things with him, and it really got weird. And you can ask anybody, people will tell you, it's just like, yeah, she was like really weird as far as like a mother-son type of relationship. She treated him more like he was somebody that she was in a relationship with. He paid her phone bill, and he paid for things that he ain't have no business paying for, helping her where he had no business helping her. She took so much money out of our household that I wasn't privy to until later on. And it was a point of argument. It was a point of contention all the time. We always would argue back and forth about her and how it's time for her to grow the fuck up, and it's time for her to stand on her own 2 feet. And he just wanted, I think it was one of those things where he just wanted his mother to love and appreciate him as a son, and to see him, that he just went ahead and went along and did things, and it just created this romanticized, weird boy mom. You know how they say boy moms are, they romanticize and they take issue with any girlfriends and this, that, and the third. Like, it was one of those things. And so that's why I said we went through ebbs and flows of being cool and not so much, because she was a fucking humdinger. I swear, she was a piece of fucking work. She still is, but she was just really too much for real. And so, yeah, but shit really hit the fan after the wedding. I told these bitches they were dead to me, and that's exactly where the fuck I'm leaving them. They're the fuck dead to me. They continue to make empty promises to my son, as I stated. They are, I just don't want to give energy to people who are like, how you don't really want to do people in that's already down bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? They already down bad. So I don't really want to give them too much. Like, I don't really want to keep harping on people that's already down the fuck bad. Like, you was down the fuck bad the entire time I've known you. So it's just like, you know what I mean? Why give them that energy? You know what I'm saying? They're already down bad. So I think this is going to conclude this episode. Again, I said I really didn't want to give them too much fucking energy. But just know and understand that envy and jealousy and hate is really not a good look. And I really would say that his family was part of the detriment of our relationship. It was part of the breakdown of our relationship. And the family just had way too much influence, especially his mother, over his finances, and he wasn't even providing in his own household. So yeah, that became an issue. But we'll talk more about him in the episodes to come. So this I'm just going to leave to his funky ass family minus his 2 aunts. So again, that is all that I have for them. I don't have shit else for them. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Bye.